Getting everyone on board, building consensus around a new idea abstract. This essay explores effective strategies for building consensus around new ideas. The introduction establishes why buy-in is crucial for successful organizational change. It describes the author's past work witnessing positive and negative impacts of consensus. The essay then outlines 5 key steps for gaining support, understanding diverse perspectives through listening, explaining the rationale and benefits of ideas compellingly, addressing skepticism through collaboration rather than persuasion, rallying stakeholders around a shared inspiring vision, and leading with integrity through role modeling values. Each step provides research and practical examples. The conclusion emphasizes how consensus cultivation requires empathy, problem-solving over edicts, and inspires higher commitment and performance outcomes through collaborative leadership focused on all stakeholders. As a management consultant and researcher, one of the biggest challenges I've seen companies face time and time again is gaining widespread agreement and buy-in for new initiatives and ideas. However, building consensus is essential if an organization hopes to successfully implement changes, innovate, and move in a shared strategic direction. While it may seem like a daunting task, building consensus is indeed possible when employing research-informed strategies with compassion and care for all stakeholders. Today, we will explore how to effectively gain support for your new ideas, understanding the importance of buy-in before diving into specific techniques. It is important to acknowledge why building consensus is so critical. As leadership expert John Kotter explains in his widely cited work Leading Change, gaining sufficient buy-in is one of the most important steps in any change process, and without it, initiatives are unlikely to succeed. Kotter, 1996. This is because organizations are complex social systems comprising many different individuals, each with their own rational and emotional considerations. For a new idea to be adopted, people must feel heard, understand how it benefits them and the organization, and be willing to support its implementation. Amanakis and Harris, 2002. Simply mandating change without consensus often breeds reluctance, reduces productivity, and stalls progress. In my consulting work, I have seen firsthand the positive impact of having widespread agreement. For example, a tech company I advised launched a new project management software which required changes to workflows. By taking the time to get input, address concerns, and rally different teams behind the idea, adoption rates were high and the transition went smoothly. In contrast, when another client rushed a reorganization without consensus building, it led to low morale, attrition of key staff, and setbacks in execution. The research proves that buy-in is vital, so devoting effort upfront to gain supporting stakeholders pays huge dividends down the road. Seeing things from all perspectives. The first step in building consensus is understanding different viewpoints by listening with empathy. As leadership scholar Stephen Covey said, "Seek first to understand, then to be understood." Covey, 1989. When introducing a new idea, resist the urge to lead with your own perspective and instead actively solicit input from a diverse range of stakeholders. Hold open forums, conduct informal interviews, survey staff anonymously, and work to identify both support as well as reservations. Make it clear you want diverse opinions, not just agreement. To get a well-rounded sense of perspectives, Kotter and Schlesinger, 2008. This approach was effective when a pharmaceutical company I worked with proposed shifting their R&D model. Rather than announce the plans and defend them, the leadership team spent time consultation with scientists, financial officers, marketers, and more to hear out concerns. They discovered researchers were hesitant about increased oversight burdens, while investors worried about costs. By comprehending multiple viewpoints, they could later tailor their change approach to directly address each stakeholder's priorities. Seeing issues from others' shoes is difficult but leads to smarter solutions with fewer rough edges to smooth over later. Explaining the why behind ideas once different perspectives are understood. The next crucial step is communicating the intent and rationale behind any new idea in a compelling manner. Research indicates people are often more accepting of changes when they grasp the why behind decisions. Not just the what. Cotter, 1996. Therefore, clearly explain the strategic thinking, data, or customer insights that led to the concept. Share how it aligns with organizational goals and values. Paint a picture of how it will benefit various stakeholders, both individually as well as collectively for the company. Stories, visuals, and examples can bring dry rationale to life. For instance, when introducing a new productivity tool at a manufacturing firm, I saw success by framing it around important metrics workers cared about, like reducing injuries and increasing wages tied to output. We pulled real case studies from early adopter plants, which resonated more than abstract efficiency goals. Explaining ideas in the context of valued outcomes for people inspires understanding versus cursory agreement. Thoroughly providing the vision of why this matters leads to deeper and longer-lasting support. Addressing skepticism through collaboration while conveying intent is crucial. Simply presenting an idea and hoping for acceptance is usually insufficient on its own. Any reservations or objections must be taken seriously to foster true consensus. Rather than trying to persuade skeptics, collaborate with them to alleviate concerns. Invite constructive criticism and genuinely work to find common ground or compromises. Cotter and Schlesinger. 2008. For example, at an ad agency I partnered with, the CEO wanted to shift from hourly billing to project management. However, account executives worried about losing control over job costs. By hosting cooperative working sessions, we were able to develop guardrails addressing those issues like clearer estimations, cost caps, and performance bonuses. With input incorporated, major objections dissipated into supportive feedback. People want to feel heard rather than converted, so seek joint problem-solving over unilateral resolutions. Addressing doubts through collaboration builds real buy-in versus begrudging compliance. Research shows compromise and including dissenting opinions in solutions leads to stronger, longer-lasting commitments to change. Amanakis and Harris. 2002. Hui, 2002. Rallying people around a shared vision even after understanding all viewpoints and addressing uncertainties. Consensus can still be challenging to achieve at scale within large organizations. This is where clearly communicating an inspiring vision for the future becomes especially crucial. Compelling visions have been shown to unite people behind a common direction and higher purpose beyond any one person's agenda. Cotter. 1996. To roll out a company-wide rebrand at a non-profit, I worked with the board to develop a new compelling mission statement centered around empowering communities in need. By consistently linking every discussion back to how the rebrand supported that lofty goal, it rallied even skeptical divisions behind a higher shared purpose they could own. Vision sets the stage for cooperation versus compliance. Continually retelling how each group and individual contributes to the greater vision encourages natural buy-in and grassroots enthusiasm for change versus top-down mandates which can chafe. Leading by example with integrity. Lastly, no amount of communication or collaboration will achieve consensus if leaders are not modeling the core values needed for buy-in. Research emphasizes integrity, consistency, and competence as crucial attributes which inspire trust and cooperation with change efforts. Kouzes and Posner. 1987. Micromanaging, unrealistic timelines, lack of follow-through on commitments, any of these erosions of integrity poison buy-in. When rolling out lean process changes at a hospital network, I saw impact diminished when upper leaders excluded their own units from changes or pushed staff beyond capacity due to unrealistic deadlines. However, by walking the talk, delegating authority, and modeling flexibility, support was restored. People buy into ideals, visions, and each other. not mandates from those who don't live the values they preach. Leading ethically and rolling up sleeves to contribute inspires followership through congruence between espoused and enacted values. Conclusion: building widespread consensus around new ideas through compassionate collaboration and integrity is an achievable but non-trivial leadership task. However, research and practice consistently show it to be well worth the effort, leading to higher commitment, fewer implementation barriers, and ultimately stronger organizational performance outcomes. While there may be shortcuts, lasting buy-in ultimately requires understanding all viewpoints, explaining rationale compellingly, addressing concerns cooperatively, rallying around shared visions, and serving as a role model of the values needed for partnership. Leaders must lead with empathy, not edicts alone. By bringing people together through inclusive problem-solving versus division, consensus cultivation and change management can succeed.